Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Clear Politics Takeaway for Thursday, December 10th. I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of Real Clear Politics.
And I'm Carl Cannon, Washington Bureau Chief for RCP. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. I'd like to give a shout out to my dad. It's his 76th birthday today, Carl.
76. Yeah. Is he still golfing?
He's still trying to shoot his age.
Does he go to the racetrack?
He does not go to the racetrack anymore. Okay,
well, he's got it half right.
Carl, let's talk. I got to talk about the Hunter Biden thing. It's been in my craw since, yesterday, but
I've noticed you were emailing me all night. I couldn't even sleep from your tweet.
The media coverage. Okay. So Hunter Biden released a statement last night saying that his tax affairs are under investigation by the FBI. The Biden transition released a statement at the same time saying Joe Biden saying he's proud of his son, yada, yada, yada. But now all the usual suspects in the media are reporting this story, Carl, when 6 weeks ago, mentioning this story would get you mocked and you would be accused of peddling Russian disinformation. It would get you locked out of your Twitter account. It would get you, a warning slapped on your Facebook post, whatever. And now suddenly, it's all well and good that this news is out there. The hypocrisy, the corruption, the shamelessness, whatever you want to call it, Carl, of the media is mind-boggling to me.
Well, let's talk about this though. There are three separate elements to this, Tom. Let's talk about them in order. Briefly, when these deals of Hunter Biden came and this laptop is allegedly had these kickbacks and information that suggested kickbacks on them, people who looked at them critically, not many people, most of the media, as you said, just dismissed it. And some of the conservative media, acted like he'd already been tried and convicted and his appeals denied. So, very few people in our business actually think critically anymore, Tom. But people who looked at it said, well, wait a minute. The crime here, if there's a crime, is tax evasion. Some people saw this and thought, but he hasn't even been accused of that anywhere. Nobody's even raised that issue. So, if that were what he's talking about, that's a more serious problem. That's what eventually Paul Manafort was convicted of. He wasn't just doing business in Ukraine. He was hiding he was hiding money he was making there. If that's what Hunter Biden did, very serious crime. The second part of it is, for the government to sort of let this out now and for Hunter Biden to let this out now after the election, I'm sure strikes some Trump supporters as, well, wait a minute, this is what we were saying. This should have been talked about and litigated before. The investigation shouldn't have been put on hold. I myself don't agree with that. I think that with Jim Comey's sorry performance in the 2016 campaign, where he basically wrote this letter he kept meddling in the election, and our friend Lanny Davis and other people think it's clear that Comey cost Hillary the election. Now, he tried to atone for that by, spending the next 4 years sliming Donald Trump. But I don't really want the FBI interfering in elections. If this investigation is a serious investigation into Hunter Biden's tax evasion, it could wait till after the election. But that brings us to the third thing. This idea that the media shouldn't cover it, that you should be ostracized if you do, called a Russian spy, had your patriotism questioned, your sanity questioned. That itself is insane. It's not sustainable. It deeply undermines people's confidence in the press, and it should.
The tax investigation, Carl, was opened in 2018. James Rosen reported on the 29th of October, so a full 4 or 5 days before the election, that the FBI was investigating Hunter Biden for tax-related issues, including money laundering and the like. I mean, it's not like this wasn't out there. There was other information suggesting, public information, that this was occurring, and yet, the media, again, it's a combination of things in my mind. It's corruption from the top levels. Jeff Zucker on his editorial call saying, we're not covering the Hunter Biden story. We're just not going there. Don't do it. All the way down to just a general lack of curiosity, right? About from individual reporters, and the idea that if this were, again, if this were Donald Trump's son, do you think reporters would have followed it up? Do you think they would have fleshed it out? Do you think they would have put people on it, resources on it, to cover this story? Of course they would have. And that's what that's what journalists should do and should be doing, but they should be applying those principles fairly and equally across the political spectrum, across the board. And that simply didn't happen here. And it absolutely, undermines any trust, whatever trust is left, and there isn't much, quite honestly, for these big media organizations. It just, again, I'm a little salty about it this morning because, I feel like this is just an absolute. I got into this business of journalism, and I still don't consider myself a journalist, right? I sort of fell into this.
Would you quit saying that? You own a media company. You go on television. You write columns. You're a journalist. I hate to break it to you, pal.
I didn't go to journalism school. I was in private business before that. I was in marketing and advertising. I sort of fell into this, as we started Real Clear Politics. So I still consider myself a relative outsider. And it absolutely, I wish I could go back and change my profession, Carl, because to the extent that people now see me as a journalist, it sickens me to watch what's going on because again, the trust is gone.
Hold on, Tom. You're looking at that wrong. It's a good thing you're in journalism because we need people who believe that we need to investigate both sides. Something you just said was the key point. If this had been Donald Trump Jr., the media would have been all over it. And they should be. That's right. So that part of it's not wrong. The part of it that's wrong is that, we only do it for one side. The difference in standard of proof between Brett Kavanaugh, the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh, which were very thin in my view, and Joe Biden himself, which were also very thin. The media investigated the Biden stuff skeptically, wrote about this woman had a history of saying things and financial irregularities. And so they examined it as best they could. Only two people really know what happened, but that's what they should, but that's what they didn't do for Kavanaugh. And your point is the key one. It's not, the media is taking sides and everybody kind of understands that. And I don't know if that's permanent. I don't know if we'll have a permanent, party press the way we did at the founding of the country from now on. But the idea isn't just taking sides. The idea is censoring the news from the other side, not only refusing to investigate Democratic wrongdoing, but attacking people who do, saying they're bad journalists and Russian agents, attacking their patriotism. That's a new wrinkle, and it's not sustainable, and it's not healthy, and I agree with you.
All right. We will leave it there. To be continued, Carl. I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of Real Clear Politics.
And I'm Carl Cannon, Washington Bureau Chief, and this has been the Real Clear Politics Takeaway for Thursday, December 10th, 2020.